convening law, I wish to state that on September 6, 2013, the notice of meeting of the Township Committee was posted on the official Township bulletin board, mailed to Kansas County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Oklahoma City, the Herald Times, and the following Township clerk.
Tell me what's that.
Tonight's meeting is being video recorded and will be available on UTTV Channel 2 and the Upper Township website. I'd like this announcement on part of the this meeting. Would everyone please rise for flag. Consider the roll call. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you need more, just let me know.
Please call roll.
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Corson?
Present.
Mr. Insera?
Here.
Mr. Newman?
Here.
Mayor Palumbo is absent. 4 members present.
Thank you. Mr. Palumbo is, or Mayor Palumbo is a work obligation, and he apologizes for missing out.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the regular and closed session minutes for the August 26th, 2013 meetings.
Second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Okay, Barbara, you have any interest in that?
I have nothing to report this evening, sir.
Well, thank you. Dan?
Nothing at this time. We do have 3 items for closed session: 2 safety and security, and a contract negotiation. We also have a potential litigation that will be handled by our conflict counsel, Norm Briggs.
Thank you. I do have a couple items. First, the Parkway Bridge project, they have driven the test pile, and on this Wednesday, they'll be doing the static and dynamic testing and doing the implosion on it. So sometime on Wednesday, there'll be a little more activity down there, and at some point, some loud banging going on when they do that. The project manager did also let me know that starting towards the end of this month, they're going to start working in 2 shifts. They're going to work a 7 to 3:30 shift, and then a 3:30 to 11:30 shift. And that's in order, because they have very limited time frames to work in the water, so they need to get the coffer dams built to build the trestle out so that they can do the work. So they're going to try to do most of the, I'll say, the loud pile driving type work during the day shift, and the evening shift will mostly be welding and moving equipment around. They are going to put a message board out there to let the residents know along Harbor Road that they are going to be working that second shift. But I want to let the Township Committee know that also. I'm going to be sending out an RFP, request for proposals, for the RFID cart readers to keep track of the carts. If you remember, that was originally part of the bid specification for the automated trucks and the carts. But we pulled it out to make, because of the professional services nature of that type of work, and I just wanted to let the committee know that proposal will probably be going out this week. And then, if anybody has any questions regarding the Public Works updated information regarding switching to using the carts and stuff like that, I would like at the next meeting to have a resolution, kind of accepting the new program, even though it won't be implemented until January, until we get the cards and the new system up and running. I would like to be able to have that process that we've outlined approved, so that I can send letters to the residents and start getting their input on cart sizes and stuff like that, and start that process. So I would be looking to have that as an agenda item for next meeting. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Barbara.
I just have 2 items this evening. The first, received a letter from Cape Bank. We're coming up on a year of using Cape Bank as our banking institution. They see no change in the interest rate that they're offering us, and they ask that if we're thinking about changing banks, to let them know by November 1st. I would recommend that we continue with Cape Bank. I just need your input. okay.
I mean, we could put out RFPs for our banking services again, but to switch, there's cost involved too. I think we just did it last year.
Do you feel that this,
It's a very good relationship. I would recommend that we continue using them.
They're providing the services that they said they would in a
Yes.
timely manner.
Yes.
It
Yes,
just-
I have no problem with it.
So you know, we had put on the closed session agenda in case you wanted to talk about the details of the contract or the arrangement. We can talk about that in closed session, but if you're comfortable with moving forward, that obviously doesn't need to be a closed session item.
And you're going to do everything the same way you did last year, and we've had no problem with them. I mean, it's said that common mistakes that happen in every sheer transaction we do.
They're really,
It's minimal.
they're few. They're
need a motion to approve?
I think what we'll do is we'll have to do.
We'll have a resolution in November appointing them again, and we'll probably get correspondence back to them indicating that we accept their new proposed terms, correct? Why don't you have a resolution confirming that, just so it can be in the minutes?
Yeah, our contract is up in November, that's why we have it this far out, in case we wanted to do an RFP, so. At this time, I'd like to make a motion, we authorize for sometime in November a resolution to extend the contract.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Ansara?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Then the other item I had was received an agreement from Marcia McLennan, who's our insurance broker. The federal regulations are requiring that the insurance brokers follow certain HIPAA regulations as well. They have access to employee HIPAA information, and they need to safeguard that as well, take technical safeguards to ensure that information is protected. So it's an agreement. Dan has reviewed it, feels that I can sign it. I have authority to sign it. I'm just letting you know that there is an agreement out there that Marcia McLennan will have to follow HIPAA regulations and safeguard our information, our employee information as well.
There's no monetary basis to the agreement. It's really to put in writing their commitment to follow the federal regulations with respect to health privacy information and our responsibility in terms of the same type of issues. I looked at the agreement, so there's nothing really, no extra exposure to the township.
And that is how long does it last?
It's just for a year,
Time for the contract?
for the life of the contract of Marsh McClellan. It doesn't extend their contract at all.
That's all I have.
Okay, you have anything to say?
Yeah, I just want to, obviously, we have a couple resolutions, highlighting September 11th is all Wednesday. Obviously, this is this Wednesday. The fire companies and the rescue squad will be participating in several events coming up this Wednesday, including the event at Osprey Point, 10 o'clock. And I'm sure everybody's aware of it. Also, some of us will be attending the county ceremony on that afternoon down at the Kidney Courthouse. That's not all I have.
Hey, thank you, Jim. Ed?
Oh, I just got a couple of things. This past week, we met with Freehold, the board, the mayor, myself, and Barb Young met with Triad. They're administrating the work, the great work that's being done on the senior center. It's coming along good. It looks like they pretty much gutted the whole inside of the building. You got the plumbers and the electricians are working in there now. They're doing the exterior of the building, roof, siding, windows and doors. And they feel pretty positive that after the first of the year, it should be done. So hopefully they'll stay right on course, and they looks like working together with the contractor, they're going to be able to meet that goal. One other thing is tomorrow night we also have our the anniversary, which is being held by the Historical Preservation Society over at the community center. And it starts about 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, so anybody interested, head on over and participate in that.
And that's it. It's also the 35th anniversary of the society. So it should be a good time. And I believe we're going to have some food and a 45-minute video of the history of
Yeah, history and starring the mayor is going to be narrating for the history of the Humboldt Township. So you can get your autographed CD after it's over and done with. Paul, any more on the pump over at the Mandy's?
I'll have to touch base with Dwayne and see what the status was. When I talked with them last week, they did not have a update for me.
Okay. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have.
Tony? At this point in the meeting, I have nothing, but I would entertain a motion to go into closed session for the one item that we're having conflict counsel for. And I have a conflict, so that after we do the motion, we'll excuse the three of you, and the conflict attorney, and all that down the hall and have your meeting.
Second motion.
No, that's not good.
I got to read it. Stand by, Tony. I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated in the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Matter number 1, potential litigation, block 548, lot 1. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. A, it is anticipated that matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. B, with respect to litigation matters, such discussion will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired.
I can second it. Second. Please call roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Make a motion that we come back into open session for the purposes of continuing the agenda. Second.
Please call roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
I guess we'll start with resolutions here.
Okay. Resolution number 1, in observance of September 11th, as always remember day, to honor the innocent victims of September 11th, 2001, and those who continue to fight for the freedom of this great nation.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 2, appointing an official to bid at the tax sale scheduled for October 1st, 2013.
Move the resolution. Second. And what this does is we appoint somebody to go to the tax sale so we don't sell undersized lots and they wind up in front of the zoning board, things of that nature.
The township will pick those up.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 3, appointing Christopher Gay and Donald Fancher as part-time employees to the Upper Township Division of Emergency Medical Services.
Move the resolution.
Second. Are these pulled over from,
No, this is from last, we approved these last meeting, and this is just a resolution.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 4, appointing the 2013 season beach patrol personnel.
Move the resolution.
Second. And then this confirms what we did last meeting.
You still need it?
What's that?
You still need it?
I think we have one more weekend.
Yeah, we had some,
But this, we did this last meeting,
Yeah.
and this is just confirming it.
Yes.
I'll be called down.
Next week, they'll probably all be unemployed, so this is just killing some paper in the process.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 5, temporary appointment of Melissa Lins as Senior Emergency Medical Technician to the Upper Township Division of Emergency Medical Services in the absence of the Chief Emergency Medical Technician.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And I'd just like to add that without violating any HIPAA rules and regulations, Chief Potter, I spoke with him on Wednesday or Thursday, and he's doing fine.
And we had this discussion when
He told me, well, for the rest of the committee, I wasn't here. We were there talking about you. He has said he never felt better, so, or hasn't felt this good in a long time. So it's a good thing.
Okay. Item number 6, authorizing an amendment to the shared services agreement with the Township of Egg Harbor for the use of facilities, equipment, and supplies for truck and equipment washing.
Move the resolution.
Second.
What this is, basically extension agreement we already have.
For 1 year.
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Ansara?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 7, accepting the bid and authorizing the execution of a contract with Ocean Construction, LLC of Linwood, New Jersey, for beach grass and sand fence for the Strathmere Beach in the amount of $61,290.
Move the resolution.
Second.
This was what, the hospital is what, 100?
The high bidder was well over 100, probably $100,000 more than this.
And well, this confirms what we did at last meeting, and it's, we're getting total reimbursement by FEMA.
Correct, correct.
So this is a good thing.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Ansara?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 8, authorizing the award of a contract with LC Equipment for street signs.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Ansara?
He's in a space lines, right?
Yes. And he was the low quoter.
Well, what are the other ones?
Uh,
Before,
The vendors' names?
well, what
Garden
are
State.
the other ones?
I don't remember what the pricing was, but they were low by probably $2,000 or $3,000.
It was Depcor and Garden State
Yeah, I think
signs were the three
I mean,
companies.
Depcor was probably $9,000 more than they were.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Mr. Newman? No, I'm sorry. Motion is carried. Item number 9, accepting the bid and authorizing the execution of a contract with Grand Turk Equipment of Bridgeport, PA for the furnishing and delivery of 2013 or newer automated refuse collection vehicles in the amount of $492,468.48.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Anybody have any comments or discussion on it? Or? All right, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Ansara?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 10, under ordinances, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 11, an ordinance amending revised general ordinance, Chapter 23, flood damage control, and Chapter 20, zoning of the Code of Upper Township.
I'd like to make a motion that we introduce ordinance number 11, 2013.
Chapter 18.
Zach?
Okay, good.
Chapter
2013, okay, with a public hearing and final adoption set for September 23rd, 2013. Reasoning behind that is we need to move quickly on this because of the flood maps.
We're trying to help out. Again, there's a handful of property owners that want to get their plans in. They won't have to necessarily revise them, and if we can get them done quickly and change this, the reason this is needed to be changed is because obviously they changed the flood maps, and our ordinance keyed towards the fire front flood maps, not the new ones. And this amends that so that they can go by the new maps.
And this
The
ordinance,
second is for the purpose of discussion.
and this map will actually be, is written such that if, as FEMA, this is the first in a series of 2 additional maps that'll be coming out from FEMA. We're still going to have the preliminary maps and then the final firms that will be published. So this ordinance allows it, we don't have to revisit this each time a new map series come out. It's based on, the flood zones will be based on the best available data that the FEMA provides to the municipality.
Because in the future, we have to amend or adjust ordinances each time. We don't have to do that, right?
No.
Okay, well, we can, so we don't have to, like in some ordinances, we've gone out and said, okay, we can amend this ordinance by resolution.
Not for this purpose, we will not have to, but we never know what the future holds.
I understand that, but for flood map purposes,
For flood map purposes, this ordinance recites all different variables.
This case also better.
It's based on best available data.
So that, I mean, if they have a map tomorrow, then 2 years from now, they have a new map and this ordinance still good.
Yes.
Okay.
So we don't have to do this again each time and be in that flux
And we
that people wait.
The 23rd is not going to be Stratford time?
Well, it's going to be close. We'll see if we can get it done. If we can't, we're going to have to postpone it. We've got to get it in the paper by Friday, but we think we can do it.
Okay, very good. And we will have a public hearing the 23rd. Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, pleasure on the bill, sir.
Hereby make a motion. I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated in full in the minutes of this meeting.
Second?
Please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, we do have reports available tomorrow morning from the construction office, the clerk's office, the tax assessor's office, tax collector, finance office, the MUA, division of EMS, and the animal control. They will all be available in the clerk's office tomorrow. I'd like to make a motion we accept them.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
At this time, we'll open it up to the public. Anyone in the public wish to comment at today's meeting? Is everyone's going to watch public? Hearing no public comment, we'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I just want to make sure we're not doing
We don't need to discuss banking services. It's really just safety and security, which would mean that you delete B in the second part of the motion as well.
I hereby move that the resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Number one, safety and security. I also include my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which this discussion is conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. A, it is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Newman? Motion is carried.